Enthusiasm with multi-tonal voice.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Till you get it up. That's the message of the afternoon, I think.
Don't stop till you get enough.
Oh, do you get enough? I see.
Till you get it up. I think that's good level.
Actually, do stop. Take a little break. Regroup. Try again.
Is that what they said during the...
Sometimes stopping's okay.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Oh.
I think that's alright. Awesome. This feels so intimate.
I know. I think the teeny table makes it even more.
Yeah.
Play footsies across the.
I know. It's kind of nice. Yeah. I think that table had its time. My dad just had enough. He was just like, get rid of it.
Yeah. Like it served its time, didn't it?
Yeah. We've had it since we were like kids. I think it's a 20-year-old table.
Mm. Ah, the nature of impermanence.
Yeah. What does that mean? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Are we rolling?
Yep. Thought might as well.
Good.
Crack it on.
Crack on.
Yeah.
What a beautiful but hot day.
It's gorgeous. If it was a little bit windier, if it had a little breeze, I think that would have been...
Yeah, a little bit tasty.
Yeah, but we always complain. It's just...
I know. Yeah.
It's like, you get nice weather and it's like,
yeah.
But if it was a bit breezy...
Yeah. So British, isn't it?
It's funny because it's
we always
like...
do them outside.
Yeah. I think it's also... It's one of those funny things that like, we're very complacent and non-confrontational when it comes to like everyday problems. Like if you're at a coffee shop and they didn't make it right, you're just like, okay. Like you just take it.
Yeah.
Whereas like, when it comes to the weather, we're just like, don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Just like, why is it not windy?
Yeah, makes a difference. Our winter ones, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the blizzards.
Yeah. I think it was actually snowing on one of them, wasn't it?
Maybe a slight hail.
Yeah.
But aside from that, man, how was you went on a 10-day, like, meditation? Yeah, meditation retreat.
It's a 10-day silent Vipassana meditation retreat.
Wow.
Which was, intense.
How did you find it, and how did you why did you want to do it?
I've done mindfulness meditation for probably 9 years now, really. And it's helped me a lot. It's something I've always enjoyed doing, and I'll go through stages of doing it a lot, or doing it a little bit, or not at all. But when I ease off doing it, I really notice after a while, it's a bit like going to the gym. It's sort of use it or lose it, and you start to notice if you haven't done it too much. You get caught up in your own thoughts too much, and you lose a bit of what's the word? Objectivity of your own thoughts. You get caught up in them too much, but then actually you get back into it, and you slow down, and it just gives you time to sort of step back and be more calm and collective. It's
not like riding a bike. Once you know it, you're good. It's like you got to keep practicing it. It's like a lifestyle.
Yeah, well, it's both actually. Yeah, once you know how to do it, then you go to do it again. You know. Yeah, you can slip back into it really quickly because you've done it before. And you also have, while you're meditating, you have insights and learn things about your consciousness that are lasting. You can't take those back. But the day-to-day calming of the mind needs to be practiced. So there are long-term lasting benefits to doing it, but there are also things that you need to keep up the regular practice in order to maintain the benefits, like going to the gym. Some of it's like going to the gym, and some of it's like riding a bike. You never forget.
Yeah. So is there like an optimum time to do it, for like before you go to bed, or to like bring that energy back down?
I think optimal would be first thing in the morning, just before bed. In a perfect world, an hour when you get up, an hour before bed which is not always particularly practical. I'm sort of trying to go for half an hour before morning, half an hour before bed at the,
nice.
at
So
the moment.
You're doing it at those times though.
Yeah, but yeah, before I'd always do it just once a day, normally one or the other. But I'm trying to stick to doing both at the moment, and see how it goes.
And how did you find this group?
Yeah, listening to Sam Harris podcasts a lot. I've heard him mention Vipassana, 10-day Vipassana retreats quite a few times. It sounded interesting. Him saying it's quite a different experience. You can get to different layers of sort of consciousness and have different realizations when you spend that long meditating in a protracted period of time. And then I also heard him on an interview with Yuval Noah Harari, who wrote *Sapiens*, and he's done one as well, and he was raving about it. So I thought, well, this is something I have to experience. And then I googled it, and then I found this place in Herefordshire. It's called Dharma Deepa, and I looked, and they're actually a registered charity organisation. So they run all on donations and volunteers. So you turn up and get your accommodation, and they feed you the whole time, but you pay whatever you want to at the end. You don't have to pay anything.
Wow.
But if you want to pay more, you feel like that,
And
you're sort of running. Yeah, it creates a sort of nice atmosphere because you feel grateful while you're there, because you're there on the kindness of someone else donating in the past when you're having your meals and things. So yeah.
Did you wear like a big robe?
Yeah.
You did?
No, I didn't.
Oh no! I was like, you go in there, you wear sandals. Like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking like Buddhist.
I got one of
monasteries.
those silk smoking jackets.
Oh, right.
Like Del Boy has with a dragon on the back.
With a dragon.
No,
Oh.
not really.
Well,
No,
you
it's just
totally had me
it's
there.
just modest dress.
Yeah.
So you have to wear trousers, which was a bit warm.
You know, wear tracksuit bottoms.
Yeah, they're trousers, aren't they? You have to
People can debate that.
long-legged pants.
Long leg pants.
Yes.
But that's cool. So what was the routine? So you get there, they're like, hey, thanks for coming, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the next day, what was your daily schedule?
Yeah, so you arrive, they give you the debrief, and they split. Once you get there, the men and women are in separate areas. You sort of segregate, and at meal times you're segregated the whole time. So there's no
Is that like a
there's no
distraction?
canoodling while there's
Is that the
meditating's supposed to be
reason?
going on,
Is
or distracting thoughts, I suppose.
I guess. Yeah.
But you'll meditate in the hall as a group, but then once it's finished, you go out separate doors, and then you're in separate areas the whole time.
Is it? This probably happened before something.
Probably.
Prophecy then.
So yeah, they give you the debrief, and they say, okay, from here on out, and say, we'd like you all to try and commit to the full 10 days. You're obviously welcome to leave, but if you're here, we'd like to ask you to commit to the whole thing, because you really won't get the benefits if you leave halfway through. You go, okay, fine. And then from here on out, we'd like you all to practice honourable silence, they call it. So you don't talk the whole time, and
The whole day.
Yeah, and that includes no sort of communication. No eye contact, no hand gestures.
No eye contact.
Yeah.
You can't even look at someone.
No, so there's no.
Jeez.
Yeah, which I kind of see, because
So you're looking
otherwise
down.
you'd end up it'd end up like a ridiculous game of charades, wouldn't it? You'd just be laughing.
What if you got to go to the toilet? What if you're in the hall and it's you're like, oh, I need to go.
You just get up and go to the
Oh,
toilet.
you just get up and go.
Yeah.
You don't have to be like, God, I got to drop
Yeah,
something.
yeah, exactly. It would just get ridiculous, wouldn't it? But it feels funny at
There's
first.
no paper towels.
Yeah, someone will hold the door open for you, and you just don't look at them and just walk straight past. Yeah, this feels rude.
Oh no.
But it's one of those. Everyone signs up for it, so it's kind of fine. It would
Yeah.
and it gets to a point. It would kind of be rude to talk to them
Didn't
because
that
you'd be
feel weird,
disturbing
though?
what they're
Like,
doing.
So how long was the meditation per day?
So I think I totaled it up, and it was. I can read out the exact schedule actually, but it was. I think it totaled 11 hours
A day
Yeah.
of silence.
Yes.
Jeez.
So yeah, there were some days I didn't talk at all.
you
But
use your
the
phone?
only some days I might say a sentence or two, because there's a period after lunch or in the evening where you can go in privately and see the teacher and just ask a couple of questions if you've got any,
Queries.
any queries, or I'm not sure if I'm doing this right, or blah blah blah. You can go in and have a chat with the teacher. But other than that, it was complete
That's
silence.
amazing.
So 4 a.m. morning wake up bell.
Shit.
4:30 to 6:30 a.m.
Sounds like a cult.
Yeah, more like a boot camp than a
Yeah.
It was brutal. It was really hard work. It wasn't a relaxing spa weekend.
No.
It was
So you get the 4 a.m. bell goes.
morning wake up bell. 4:30 to 6:30 a.m. meditate in the hall or in your room.
Can you say good morning to like the people you wake up with?
No.
No, you just like not even a head nod.
Yeah, it was weird after the 10 days, the last day after lunch, you can start talking again, just as a little buffer before you leave. So you
Back
don't.
to civilization.
Yeah, exactly. And
So you come back with your head shaved.
yeah, it
and
was
all that.
weird. You spent 10 days with people and you're walking around shaking hands, going, "Oh, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
What's your name?" But you spent 10 days.
By the way, dude, you stunk
Yeah.
the whole trip.
Yeah. And I mean, there was people sleeping next to me. I hadn't even realised because
Oh, no.
I'm not looking anyone in the face.
What about if there's a snorer? Can you just say to him like, dude, like you're snoring loud?
No.
There was no one that slipped up.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, it was. There was plenty of snorers. Lots of people talking in their sleep.
Oh,
I
really?
think lots of people, including myself, had crazy dreams.
Oh shit.
Yeah, from day.
What did you think about? So you're sitting down and you're like, I know it's breathing, right? So your breathing exercise. But then there surely should be a point where you're like, oh, yo, I'm bored as fuck, or I'm hungry, or like I want something to do. So what would you do in that situation? Or has there been that situation?
Sort of. I mean, if you're bored, you shouldn't really be bored. If you're bored, you're not doing it properly. You're not concentrating hard enough. But I don't know. I'll read out the schedule and then I'll describe the process.
I dig it.
So 4:30 to 6:30, meditate in the hall or in your room. 6:30 to 8, breakfast break. 8 till 9, group meditation in the hall. 9 till 11, meditate in the hall or in your room, according to teacher's instructions. 11 till 12, lunch break. 12 till 1, rest and interview the teacher. 1 till 2:30, meditate in the hall or in your room. 2:30 to 3:30, group meditation in the hall. 3:30 to 5, meditate in the hall or in the room, according to teacher instructions. 5 to 6 p.m, tea break. 6 to 7 p.m, group meditation in the hall.
Jeez.
7 to 8:15, teacher's discourse in the hall.
What's teacher
8:15
discourse?
to 9, I'll say in a sec. Group meditation in the hall. 9 till 9:30, question time in the hall. 9:30, retire to your room, lights out.
Wow.
So that was. So the way it was structured is there was 2 assistant teachers there, but all the lessons were given on an overhead projector on a video. And it's a guy called S.N. Goenka, who died early 2000s. But they still use. I can see why they still use his videos to do all the teachings, because he was. It was a real sort of masterclass in teaching. He was just really good at explaining everything, and it's an art, isn't it? Teaching well and putting things across well, and he just sort of nailed it all so clearly that you got exactly what he was asking for.
Wow.
And then the next day, he he knew all the frustration. He was quite funny as well, and he knew all the frustrations you'd been going through the day before, and he'd say them all out loud, and everyone would sort of laugh in relief, sort of going, "Oh, okay, good. That's what I'm supposed to be feeling now, so that's fine." But yeah, so the Vipassana is different to sort of the meditation I'd normally do, or sort of most people do, is concentration or mindfulness meditation, where you'll concentrate on an object, or you might say a word over and over, a mantra in your head to really concentrate and focus the mind, or you'll focus on the breath. But it's usually you'll purposely do nice big breaths in, nice big breaths out, filling the lungs in and out. And you'll, like I've described before, you focus on the breath or the object, because you can't have nothing in your mind. So you choose to have one thing in your mind, completely focus on that. And then as you're focusing on that, all of a sudden your mind will wander off, and it will do that all the time. And then you'll notice your mind's wandered off. And then just notice that, but without any sort of emotion on it. Go, "Oh, you idiot, your mind's wandered off." You just go, "Oh, my mind's wandered off, that's interesting." Bring it back to the breath. And then you keep doing that, and then you'll get longer and longer periods where you can focus on just the breath and no thoughts pop into your head. But that takes a long while.
So you're focusing on your breath, so you're just like, all you're doing is literally, as it says, like you're focusing on how you breathe. You're just doing that.
Yes, but it's real. But yes, normally, but where which is good because it quiets the chatter, your monkey mind, and you can step back and objectively observe your thoughts rather than getting caught up in them, and you realise your thoughts just arise, and then you decide how to interpret them. You are not your thoughts. That's the big realisation. But Vipassana goes a bit further in that it's able to get down to sort of some deeper layers of your subconscious, whereas the normal mindfulness is excellent, but it works on that surface quietening level. That surface level.
Yeah.
So Vipassana's really, it was sort of an original Buddhist meditation technique.
Yeah.
But it's very much based on observing body sensations as they are. It's you don't add anything. You don't change the breath. It's very much so. The whole first 2 days were observing the breath. It's the sensation. It's all sensation. You really concentrate on the feeling of the air going in your nostrils and out. And you don't try and change anything. If you've got short, shallow breaths, you just observe that. If they're deep breaths, you just observe that. And often, most of the time, you'll have more air going in one nostril than the other. So you go, "Oh, most of them is coming out the right." So you just observe that.
Do they teach you breathing techniques?
No, that's the point.
Right.
You don't alter anything. You observe everything exactly as it is.
Because I would assume like deep breaths, all that.
No, this is the difference in Vipassana. You're not altering anything. You're observing everything as it is. But then the same principle. You concentrate. Your mind's all over the place. You're wandering off all the time, and you just get flashes of just random images just popping into your head like you're in a dream. And you're thinking, what on earth is? And you realise how ridiculous and just incoherent babble just emerges in your brain all the time, and you go, "This is just caught up in the brain of a mad person," which I probably am, but I think everyone has that experience. Yeah, everyone's. You don't realise everyone's mad until you sit down and do that, and you go, "Oh, okay, this is just incoherent, just babble, just random stuff comes at you." But then after the 2 days, you start off not being able to concentrate on your breath for any length of time. After 2 days, you might be able to concentrate on it for a minute. Really? without anything popping in. So yeah, and then that's that's just to quiet the mind. And then on the third day, what you do is you begin to you actually spend the whole day focusing on the area, any sensation on the area below your nose and above your lip, that triangle there.
That's amazing.
So you spend a whole day focusing on that area above your top lip, just for any sensation that arises. So it could be an itch, could be the feeling of the air coming in and out, it could be a slight tingling. And then if there's nothing, you go back to the breath. If you feel something, you go there. And you'll get to a point where actually you'll start to feel, you'll feel sensations all the time there. And you actually, what it is, you're sort of quietening the mind to a point your sort of instrument for detecting sensations becomes more sensitive.
It's like if you're visually impaired, you have more sensitive hearing.
Yes.
Is that kind of like?
Yeah. I think that's
more aware.
That's a good analogy. Yeah. If you're not putting all these inputs, these sort of outside dominated inputs into that part of the brain, which is always on overdrive normally, you're shutting that off for an extended period of time, like you say. Like, if you put a blindfold on, your ears would become more sensitive. You're becoming more sensitive to bodily sensations because you're focusing on them so much. And then sort of on the fourth day, he'll say, now focus on an area on the top of your head. And you go, okay. And he said, and then spread the awareness out down your head and then down your face. And all of a sudden you go, oh, okay. And you can, where you could feel all these sensations on your lip, where you'd concentrated in on a small area, you realise, oh, I can do that throughout the whole of my body. And you'll focus down your head, down your neck, down one arm, down the other, down your torso, and you'll scan down the whole body and then come back up one at a time. And at first you don't look for anything special, just any sensation is fine. Even if I'm sweaty, my arm, I get to my arm, it's sweaty. Or it's hot, or I can feel the shirt on me. That's fine, just any sensation. Can you feel it? Go up and down. But then you'll get to a point where you can feel these, you'll feel a sort of tingling, the subtle sensations. And you'll be able to feel that throughout any area you focus on. Sometimes there'll be dead areas and you can't feel, and you focus on them for a minute, and then all of a sudden you'll feel some sensation. And it almost feels like this tingling, it almost feels like you're focusing on the air. Say you focus on your hand and it's all tingling. You feel like your attention is causing the tingling.
Yeah,
but what you realise though is actually those sensations are there all the time. You've never developed that instrument of detection to be sensitive enough to notice them. But you have these subtle sensations in your body. If it's alive, your consciousness can detect these subtle sensations, and you get to a point where you get these uniform subtle sensations everywhere, and you can scan down your head, down your arm, down your body, and back up again with this sort of light tingling, and it's a really euphoric feeling. It's
do you
very
do
pleasant.
this? The way you do this, is this sitting down, or do you do this like in a particular position? Because I feel like if they're like, oh, I want to try to feel your spine or something. Is that I'd want to be in a position where
it's mostly sitting cross-legged, which I was in agony for most of it.
Really? What did you do in that, Eric?
I didn't realise how tight my hips were, but I spent the first 3 days. I thought it would be a mental challenge, but I never thought in my head it would be a physical challenge. But it was that was really uncomfortable. But the first 3 days I sat cross-legged, really tight hips, and then I was just in agony constantly for 3 days.
Did you do any
yoga?
I
spoke to the teacher and he said, oh, you can swap to the chair or back. because I couldn't really get a straight answer. I was thinking, why are we sitting cross-legged? Is this actually going to help the meditation, or
is this for
is
breathing?
this
or?
just because everyone?
It's cliche.
Is this just tradition? Yeah. So I couldn't get it, and I was saying I can. Like, I'm happy to man up and just carry on sitting cross-legged, but I feel like the pain's sort of taking away. I can't concentrate fully on getting deep into the meditation because it's distracting me all the time. So he sort of said, yeah, but I ended up swapping backwards and forwards. I do one in the chair, which I could really concentrate and go deeply in the meditation, and then I go back to the sitting cross-legged.
Do you think it took you away quite a bit?
Well, it wasn't really till the end I sort of got the point. I get the point of being able to sit cross-legged, because actually, once you're flexible enough, it is an ideal meditation position, because you can sit, if I did another one, you can sit a lot longer cross-legged, and you're in a good posture. Whereas if you sit that long in a chair, it's not going to do your body back much good. But it's quite good sitting cross-legged, and I think it also just makes logical sense in terms of being alert. It's comfortable enough that you can meditate, but you're not going to fall asleep You might fall asleep in a chair. But if you fall asleep cross-legged, you're just going to flump onto the floor, aren't you? So, yeah, I mean, it does sort of make sense. But I realised there is actually discomfort is actually part of the meditation. So there's all different things, but yeah, you get. So there are layers as well to this detection. You get to a point you can just scan. You can do both sides of your body, and you can scan the whole way up and down these uniform, subtle sensations up and down your whole body. And you can, and then I didn't get to this stage, but then you can. The thing is, these sensations you can train yourself to detect more and more subtle sensations. There are layers and layers you can go down, and now I've experienced the first part. I can see how that process would unfold, but you then can do a point you've focused on the surface of the skin, and then you can actually scan in and out inside your body. And because there's always sensations. Don't think about what's in there, but you scan the sensations in and out inside your body as well, go up and down, and you can get to a point where you actually experience complete dissolution of your body. You can no longer feel your body anymore. You're just a consciousness.
Unless someone gives you a slap.
Then you can, well, yeah. And then you can just feel, but you can still feel your spine. So you can go up and down, feel sensation in your spine. If there are any bits left, and then after that, your body can just completely dissolves. You can't feel it anymore. And Sam Harris has got to a stage where you can actually have a complete dissolution of ego, where you no longer have any sense of self, or you're just pure consciousness, which sounds bonkers.
Such a hippie.
Yeah, it's really difficult. It's difficult describing these things because you
have to go through it.
If someone hasn't experienced it, you do. It sounds like the ramblings of a mad person. It's really
what,
and I see, and people should be skeptical because there are mad people. But yeah, it's a bit it's frustrating when something's experiential. You have to persuade someone to go through the process and experience it for them to understand. It's hard to just show someone you can't show them a picture and say, look, and then they get it.
I'm sitting down.
You have to experience it, and then you go, oh, okay, I get it. But I mean, there are so many layers to it. I can just just keep going on forever.
I just want to do a little quick pause just to make sure that things
no
are
worries.
on the camera. It was recording, but I couldn't see the light on the front. That's why I was going crazy for a minute.
So
what I did want to ask you is, you said when I met with you the other day that with these techniques you can relieve stress and deal with more complicated, stressful situations.
Yes.
How does having like self-awareness in your body make you deal with those stressful situations?
Good question. I'm pleased you asked.
There you go.
Yes. So there's different. So it's not. This is the real key of Vipassana, because you're also there are some. Yeah, there's some sort of Buddhist terminology involved, but it it makes sense if you. I mean, one of the sort of Buddhist principles is that suffering is it can always be broken down into two things, and it's craving or aversion. So craving and clinging, or aversion. You really want something and you don't have it, and that causes emotional suffering.
Right.
Or you have something, or my leg hurts, I have it, but I don't want it, and that causes emotional suffering. And you can, most unpleasant emotional feelings can be boiled down to those two things.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. So one of the terminology they use is if you say you always have a craving for something, say cigarettes, always have a craving for cigarettes, they'll call that sankhara. So it's which I guess it just means a mental.
Is there like a detachment?
It's a mental pathway that you associate. You associate that feeling with I want something, and let's say the more you exercise that, it's like a cut in stone. It gets deeper and deeper. So you might have, which I guess makes sense as well. If you practice a behaviour over and over again, it becomes more cemented in your brain, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that makes sense. So what you'll find when you're detecting, okay, I might go another step to the side as well.
Yeah.
When you're scanning up and down, you're sitting cross-legged for an hour, and you'll have sits of determination where you'll try not to move the whole time, and naturally discomfort or pain will arise as you're scanning. You're feeling these sensations up and down, and then you'll have, say, a pain in your hip, and normally you fight pain, don't you? You go, you fight pain and try not to think about it, and the metaphor is you're fighting fire with fire. You create more fire, and you need water. So you, instead of going and try not to think about the pain and fighting it, I keep thinking of new layers, but I'll go into it.
Is it like you have to embrace that and then kind of let it flow?
So as you're scanning up and down, detecting these sensations, the whole time you're thinking about the nature of impermanence. Everything comes and goes. Nothing is permanent. All these sensations come and go. They arise and pass. They're just subtle vibrations that are coming and going all the time, and you almost have this feeling of you can almost feel like you can feel your cells dying and being reborn constantly. It's this, and you have this real feeling of, oh, okay, yeah, I get this isn't a permanent state. This is coming and going sensations.
Yeah, but does that get diluted with the idea, like, if you've got a problem and then you don't, like, it's something it's been with you for so long. For instance, like, I've got bad knees, but like I'm so used to having a bad knee, I can't even remember what it's like to have a good knee.
Yes.
So if I was scanning that would feel normal to me.
Yeah.
So that vibration can be like a permanent kink. So what I'm saying is, do you make yourself aware of that permanent kink, or do you kind of think that that's going to be just a temporary thing?
Well, this is the absolute point of Vipassana. Is the goal is not it's not a game of sensations. You're not, because what the goal is perfect equanimity in every sensation you feel.
What does equanimity mean?
Perfectly balanced.
Right.
Yeah. You treat them the same. I was reminded of that a line from the Rudyard Kipling poem. If you could,
not know.
if you
Poems.
if you could meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same, it's that ability. So it's like I said with the mindfulness, where you can step back and impartially observe your thoughts. You're training yourself to step back and impartially observe bodily sensations.
Yeah.
So it's going one step further, but it's the same principle. So, but those uniform subtle sensations feel very nice. It's quite euphoric. So you can, but there's a real danger there, because you could easily acquire craving for that, because you want more of it, and that's not the point. And you can create aversion to the pain, and you avoid it. But the goal is to have perfect equanimity with both of them, and just observe them as sensations that are coming and going, arising and passing.
Yeah.
And that's it. You just observe them. So, but when you get to, say, the pain in your hip, often what you actually do is focus on the pain exactly, and you'll find it's not. One, you'll notice actually it's the same as all these uniform subtle sensations I've been feeling. It's just a gross. It's just a more intense version, but it's the same. It's the same sensation. It's all sensation. It's just a more intense sensation, and you'll observe it, and it won't be as fixed as you think. You can't quite pin it down. It will move, and it will move around, and often you'll observe it for a while, and it will just sort of dissipate. And you'll go, oh, it's interesting. It isn't this fixed thing that you thought it was. It's just sensations arising and passing, and then you'll carry on scanning, and then actually it would have become unbearable and you would have had to move, you can actually get through it and sit. You realise you can, and that way you'll train yourself to you're getting rid of these aversion pathways of, oh, painful, I need to do something.
Yeah.
If you observe that feeling and you don't react, that response becomes weaker and weaker.
Right.
But what you'll realise actually when you're meditating, scanning up and down, often you'll get these intense bodily sensations, or your heart might quicken and your breath gets faster, and the terminology is that when you're in that state, sort of in your subconscious, old, and you're not creating new pathways of aversion and craving, that your old ones will come up, these old responses, and you actually feel real intense bodily sensations. And what you realise is you can stop and observe them, think this is impermanent, they're just sensations arising and passing, and you observe them for a while, and eventually they'll dissipate, and you'll go, oh, okay. And it's sort of those old responses, by not reacting to them, just observing them impartially, they lose their power. They get weaker and weaker because they're not getting a response. But what you realise, that was the real. It sort of sounds obvious when you describe it, but it's the difference between knowing something intellectually and experiencing it is quite different. But you realise that actually you don't actually react to anything externally. All you react to is the sensations, the physical sensations that arise in your body. That is what you react to. So you see a Ferrari, and you say, I think, oh, I want that. But you're not actually reacting to the Ferrari. You're reacting to the bodily sensations that are caused by those signals going into your eyes.
Because there's loads of things that are associated and attached to that image.
Yeah, but you realise, oh, actually, it's not the outside thing. The outside thing isn't causing my reaction. It's the outside thing will cause trigger a bodily sensation, and then for some reason my brain decides, oh, that bodily sensation is good or bad. It will attach a meaning to that bodily sensation, and then your conscious mind reacts to the bodily sensation.
How would you deal with, let's say you got a cut in your hand?
Yeah.
Would you? And it was like, let's say it was a deep cut. How would you go by that? Like, let's say, it just happened now. You know, mentally, where are you in that? Like, because obviously you're getting this sensation, like pain.
Yeah.
But where would you go from that point? Do you just you're focusing on this, or are you thinking like, right, I'm just gonna go quickly try to do something with it? Or is that a good example? Or was that pretty shit? I'm just thinking like what, because I can understand like thinking of the senses, like I've got a cramp in my leg, I'm trying to like think of that sense. But then also like if I got cut, I'm like, because what I would do would be try to not think of the pain. So it's like it's like you're saying, like the old method of like trying to distract my brain, not think of it and just deal with it. But then it sounds like you try to think of the sensation rather than the pain of it, kind of thing.
Because otherwise you're creating a response of aversion. It's an aversion to that sensation, and then your body says, oh, it's a funny one with pain, because obviously people are going to say, oh, well, there's pain for a reason. You don't want to, if you put your hand in the fire, you want to take it out. But yeah, obviously, but it's helpful if there's
obviously
if you're already cut, then there's no point suffering more than you need to.
Yeah,
you're already cut, aren't you? But I mean, I'm not going to go into that.
Yeah,
but you can make it less. Yeah, but by focusing on it, and also focusing on the sensations throughout the rest of your body, and then focusing on that, you can objectify it as sensations arising and passing. Yeah, they're impermanent, rather than thinking, oh, it's my hand. I've cut my hand. It's no, you're just taking the ego out of it. You're just observing it as, oh, it's a sensation arising and passing.
Yeah.
But I think I've heard it described, the long-term benefits of it, saying it reduces the half-life of negative emotions.
Yeah.
So whereas if you get, I think that's the goal. If you get really angry, you might be angry for an hour. Whereas if you train Vipassana, you'll still have the anger response, but it might go after a minute.
Yeah.
But that could make quite a difference to your life, couldn't it? If think of all the carnage you can wreak if you're constantly angry for an hour rather than a minute. But what that is, rather than if you have a response and something makes you angry, you go, oh, that thing has made me angry, and you get all caught up in it. You go, ah. But actually, when you have that realization, you go, oh, I've been made angry. Oh, actually, I'm now full of bodily sensations that I associate that triggers an anger response in me.
Yeah.
So you can actually don't react in a physical way, because then you'll reinforce that feeling is bad, and then that creates this response in me.
Yeah.
You observe it, observe the sensations in your body of anger sensations. Don't react in any way, just stay calm and observe them.
Yeah.
Think impermanence arising, passing, and then after a while it will dissipate, and you go, oh, I don't feel angry now. And then you realise that anger wasn't this set thing. This thing made me angry, and then I was angry, and I was angry that it made me angry. You just go, oh, that outside stimulus that was a stimulus to my five senses,
Yeah.
sight, hearing, smell, and it triggered this sensation response in my body. You go, oh, actually, it wasn't this thing made me angry. It caused this sensation, and I can just observe the sensation, and it will pass. And
See,
it was shoot, and then you just don't realize. You go, oh, it was a phantom. It wasn't this fixed thing that you thought it was.
Yeah, I've got something similar, but mine's like more of like you shouldn't let anything bother you. So, for instance, I got a great example. When we went out with Joe on this drive. We're out in this like red light. We're sitting there, we're just chilling, and as soon as it goes amber, this dude right behind us is like beeping, like to go, and it's like it's not even turned green yet, and then he's like driving beside us and like flipping us off, and I was like, and Joe was livid. He was like, oh, I just want to. Like, you know, like he just wants to get. He's like, oh, like he wants to get out of the car and like you just get. He like went 0 to 100 so quickly, and I was like, dude, it's not worth any. Like, you shouldn't even let any of that bother you. Like, first of all, like not only like you're better than that, but it's like why put even effort? Like, if that happened to me, I'm like, go ahead, I don't care. Like, it's just I'm not letting that like get into my mind. It's not worth my effort.
No,
and I apply that to quite a lot of things. Like if there's something going on in my life, or if there's like my kind of mantra, if that's what we call it, is like just keep moving forward. There's no point like holding back or like waiting for something. There's always like keep moving forward. There's always, if something bad's happen, it's gonna go. So it's kind of like what you've learned, but mine's more for like the layman, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
It's like just forget about it. Keep going.
Yeah, if someone does that and then you get all angry, you're creating emotional suffering for yourself.
Yeah, it's only. I said that to Joe. I was like, "It's the only one that's getting affected is you. This guy's gone now. Like, why do you care?"
And the difference is as well, if you get angry and you're not then in control, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're then completely passive and someone, you know, if some action is required, if the best course of action was to wind down the window and shout that bloke's a knobhead, if you're calm inside and you think, okay, I can still wind down the window and shout, but it's a calm, rational decision, as I've decided that's the best course of action. It's not, you're not getting completely caught up in these sensations, and you identify with them, and you have no control over yourself.
Yeah,
you can still do that thing if you decide it's the right course of action, but you'll do it calmly and objectively.
Yeah, rather than irrationally. It's quite interesting because, you know, there's that old photo or poster, and it was like this German Shepherd chasing a duck, and he was just like the title. I can't remember the title. It was something about like making decisions when you're angry. So this German Shepherd is jumping off a cliff to get this duck.
Yeah,
he's annoyed at this duck. But it's like he's the one is suffering now because he's gonna fall. The duck can just fly away.
Yes,
it's just making those bad decisions.
Yeah,
I find that just being calm. Just like don't let silly things bother you. And if something does bother you, just be like, is it worth my time? Am I better than that? And that's why I kind of think quite a lot.
But sorry to interrupt, but it's kind of, I feel like it's already kind of in the diction, is that the word? Vocabulary? But you experience it. All these the bodily sensations are actually everything you react to. But if you think about it, you kind of realise that, don't you? It's in the not the vocabulary is not the right word, but it's, I know what you mean. You'll say I feel angry.
Yeah.
I feel sad. It's bodily sensations that
can be controlled.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. When you realise you focus on the pain, the physical pain, and it sort of dissipates, you realise that actually these emotional responses are the same as that pain. They're just bodily sensations as well. You realise that they are pain. it's all going to the same
Yeah.
same part of your brain that associates those sensations with aversion, with a negativity, saying that's a negative sensation. So those negative feelings are manifest as actual physical pain.
Yeah, but
It's quite a...
could you say that some pain isn't irrational? Like, if I've got like I got kicked in the leg
Yes.
and I've got now muscle problems because of it.
Yes.
Like, that's not irrational. That's a rational pain that would be hard to take that away from.
Yes.
So whereas emotional pain can be worked on because it's not. But then that's the debate. Like, is that emotional pain? Is it physical? Because you're saying you can kind of take that element out of it.
Yes. I mean,
Or am I just,
of course.
Am I just chatting shit now?
Yeah, yeah. I think I sort of know what you mean, but it's always I wouldn't get caught up on the physical pain too much because
It's more of an analogy.
Well,
Not an
I mean,
analogy.
it's useful. You don't want to get caught. Yeah, you don't want to go down the rabbit hole of course there's physical pain for a reason because you don't want to get hurt.
Yeah.
And I guess there's this sort of emotional pain as you've evolved to experience it for a reason. Largely because we have to, we have to be motivated to find food, and there are social dynamics that you need to work through. And
Yeah.
I guess you have those responses to those.
What do-
But I think it runs away with you.
Yeah.
I think, but you can still feel those and observe them, but you don't have to react.
I like that, especially in the sense of like your own ego, because there's a lot of people that I know that get caught up with like something, or like taking, like, using that example previously, is like he was so set with his ego of like, I want to retaliate and make this a big thing, and it's like, no, you don't need to. Like,
No.
this like you're saying, it's just a passing thing that doesn't need to affect you anyway. And that's something that you gotta be aware of anyway now, because it's like, if I'm never gonna pick a fight with someone because I don't know who they are, for one, and also there's no need to get in any sort of like conflict.
Yeah.
There's no point for me, for anyway. Like, I'm not one of those people that are like, I want to go out and start a fight, because I don't know if that guy's got something on him, he's got a knife. It's like, why do I want to take the chance?
Exactly.
It's just let that.
And it's so often an overinflated sense of ego.
Yeah.
Because those, you say, oh, he did this or said that, and I have this image of who I am in my head, and I have to, and that's upset me, because that has somehow disrupted my sense of self.
Yeah.
I have to defend that.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessary. I think, like, if you use an example, like, if you find out like your girlfriend's cheating on you, I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like, done that, okay, I'm like gonna leave you and then do something else. It's like, I'm not gonna waste any time to go through the drama, like, and do this, and that's just effort. And the thing I don't know if that's made me a bit more cynical, but like, I feel like I don't want to waste my effort. There's very little, much I have. I don't want to waste my effort into something that's so silly.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if you felt like you wanted to do that, that's your decision. I'm not going to waste my emotional distress dealing with that. I'm like, I know what I want to do.
And again, it's emotionally, physically draining getting caught up in these.
And I'm naturally very lazy, so why do I want to? Why do I want to deal with that?
It's a good way of doing.
So
looking at it. But I think, what it is actually is the saying about the aversion and craving. When you do these long meditative sits, it's a perfect practice ground for not reacting to sensations that you associate with aversion and craving. You sit for an hour cross-legged and pain comes up, and it's fine because it's pain. If it's pain that you think, I might get injured, don't do it. But if you're sitting cross-legged, no harm actually comes. You just I don't know, just some discomfort arises. So you can logically say, this is just discomfort. I'm not actually doing any harm to myself, so it's fine. And you'll observe that objectively, and you'll get used to not reacting to sensations that are associated with aversion, and then that can, in theory, translate to other areas of your life. Or I have an aversion to going to the gym. Okay, well, I can observe that impartially, that sensation that causes me, but I'm going to go anyway, because the rational me's making the decisions now. And it's the same with these uniform subtle sensations. They're very pleasant, quite euphoric, and you can easily get craving for them. You want more. I want to experience that again. And actually, if you can just observe the pleasant sensations unemotionally, impartially, that will then theoretically train you in your everyday life. If there's a pleasant sensation, you go, I want more chocolate. You can observe, you can just impartially step back and observe the sensations, bodily sensations that wanting chocolate creates, and go, oh, that's interesting. But the rational you can say, okay, but it's not in my best interest. I'm choosing not to eat it. Or you can choose to eat it, but you're not reacting to those sensations. You've taken back control.
Yeah, and I can see why that's so important in like just your daily routine, your daily life is like that can be implemented very, very widely. And if you can, just because we're getting close to call time, if you can give advice to people that haven't been on this, obviously you're still on that journey, but people that haven't taken any journey or haven't even thought about separating emotion to rational thought, could you give any advice to people that are in that?
Yeah,
in that
100%. I would, even before I did this, I'd 100% start a daily mindfulness meditation practice.
Or even like, oh no, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, and it's so easy now. There are so many different apps, or even just find one guided mindfulness meditation on YouTube that you like, and just keep doing that every day. Start with 10 minutes, but 20 minutes a day is good. The longer you can manage, great. And if you do that every day, you'll start to notice changes. That was one of the, I'm really pleased I started doing that, the mindfulness. With the Vipassana, it has to be that long. It has to be a 10-day thing. But then once you've experienced it, and then you can make Vipassana a daily meditation. You can do that daily, and you need to do it daily to keep it up, really. But you need to have that long period of quiet and introspection and intense focus. It's quite exhausting to increase the sensitivity of those detectors. Yeah. But then, like riding a bike, you'll remember how to do it afterwards. But still, often I'll sit down and meditate, and it's not always. Again, you'll want those subtle sensations, but often you'll go back and it's just, oh, I'm hot, or it's. You take the boring bits and the amazing bits and treat them both the same. That's the practice. But just got to keep turning up. So do a regular mindfulness meditation practice, and if you ever get a chance to do a 10-day Vipassana, I'd say do it.
That'd be cool. Also, like maybe be a bit more just conscious of like those sporadic irrational feelings.
But I feel like sometimes you so caught up in them that doesn't even make sense. I think you need the meditation practice
to get to that point.
Yeah, and then there's an experiential truth that you'll realise. But just saying it, accepting it on an intellectual level isn't enough. You need to experience it.
Powerful. Yeah. Powerful. Awesome, man.
Cool.
Do you feel slightly meditated from this conversation?
Yeah, I think so. It was stimulating.
Yeah.
But it was. Coming back as well. It was a real challenge, and I felt fantastic afterwards. But I was aware of that. There's going to be a peak experience high that you get afterwards, and I felt great. But then you come back and life comes at you, and there's all different things you need to deal with, and it's been a real test, and I'm still trying to keep up the the daily practice, but it doesn't make your life perfect all of a sudden.
No.
But it gives you an extra tool in the toolbox.
I like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Banger, dude.
Boom. Signing out, eh?
Yeah.